Hi friends, my name is Jake. Welcome to Canadian Cutting Edge, and we've got the Real Steel ROKOT. There you go. Take a look at her in all her splendor. This is the special limited sort of burgundy, brown, reddish micarta version that was being sold at realsteelshop.com. If you're not signed up at realsteelshop.com, use my referral link down below and you will get a $20 discount code for your first purchase. I think this knife was like $75. They're totally out of it in the micarta. They still have it in a green micarta and in a white G10. The white G10 is 65 US bucks and the micarta is 69 US dollars. There's also a black G10 version available at many stores in the United States for 77 US dollars. White Mountain Knives, of course, has it, and you can get 10% off there with coupon code CCE. So while you can't get this micarta one, you can still get the ROKOT, although a number of stores are listing it as discontinued. So you might want to hurry up and get it while you still can. If you want something special, go to realsteelshop.com. Otherwise, go to your favorite knife store. That is, if you're in the United States. In Canada, where's my sheet? Oh, it's over there. There's a Canadian listing for this. I think it's $109 Canadian and 99 cents. House of Knives even has it, but there it's $120 on sale. It's $120. So if you don't want to buy it from outside of Canada, if you're a Canadian, there are Canadian sources for it, although you're paying a premium price as well. So without any further preamble, let's get to the tabletop and take a look at this Real Steel knife. By the way, it's a design by Ivan Bragnitz. Let's go. So here it is. We've got I'm going to call it a slight drop point because there is an angle here for the thumb rests with the jimping, and then it goes slightly down. So I'm going to call it a drop point blade. High flat grind, almost a full flat grind. We've got a fuller, and that looks like it might be bead blasted, but everything else is nice satin finish. We've got thumb studs that also behave like the stop pins. So they come back and they hit the liners. We've got exposed liners. Thumb studs are kind of unique, which is nice. And they do work well. They look like they're hard to get at over here, but they're pretty easy to get at and deploy the blade, right-handed or left-handed, no problem. And we've got a front flipper. And the front flipper works okay. It would work a little better if the detent was a little stiffer. And that's something I'm going to adjust. I've not taken this knife apart yet, but I will for this video. I'll adjust it when I take it apart. So it's pretty nice. On the bevel here, we've got Real Steel's branding. Right there, it says Ivan D. Bragnitz Design. On the other side, it says N690, and we've got Ivan Bragnitz logo right there. So I don't know how he got away with getting his name on the knife twice, but hey, if you're a knife designer, yeah, maybe ask for your name to be on there twice. So there's that. At least it's on the ricasso. It's nice and small. That's on the bevel, which I don't like, but it's nice and small. And the Real Steel logo is not too big. So that's okay. There's no sharpness choil, really. There's this tiny bit of a relief cut there. Sharpening this knife is going to be very easy to make a mess of that plunge area right there. That's the first con on this knife, is that there's not a proper sharpness choil. So there's that. We've got a little bit of jimping in here, and so it's not really a forward choil as much as it's just a forward zone with that jimping and that flat section, and with the handle coming up to meet it. It's actually very comfortable to sneak up with your index finger. And with this long set of jimping back here, you can get your thumb in there, and so you can get a really good close-up grip and use the knife like that. So I really like that. That's well done. The jimping is very well done. I like it. It's not overly aggressive. and it is quite grippy. We've got a liner lock design. Lockup is just barely adequate. It's almost not adequate, but it's just barely engaging. I never had it come unlocked on it while I was using it, but it's just barely engaged. Over time, that's going to wear over a little bit, so it'll get even better. So it's an okay lockup. I much rather have them a little bit early than late. So because this, if you wanted it later, you could just take away a little bit of the steel on that liner lock's face, and then it'll get later. Very tiny amounts, very, very tiny adjustments if you're ever going to try that. The blade centering, very good. It's not perfect, but it's very good indeed. And no blade play side to side, up and down. It's a good lockup. The lock release, you can see a tiny little section here where the steel's been milled away, but they did it on the other side as well. Kind of odd that they did that. But it's just barely enough room to get your thumb in there. At first, I was pushing around here. Let's see if I can get this closer to the camera. I was trying to push across right here, and I was having trouble, releasing that lock, and I had to put extra pressure on there, and it was putting too much pressure on my thumb. I disliked the lock release. I disliked it quite a bit. Then I took a close look and saw that scoop over there, and I realized I need to push my thumb up this way, push it this way and over, and then it works just great. So if I'm pushing on an angle like this to get that lock release done, it just works every time. No problem. I am not a big fan of front flippers. They just don't work that well for me. So that little mess up that I did there on camera where I didn't get the front flipper working, that has more to do with the operator than the knife. Although, like I said, if the detent was a little stiffer, it would preload better, and then it would come flying out better. The detent's adequate for thumb studs, but a little soft. The rest of the knife, we've got probably a D-shaped pivot pin, and we've got standard screws here. That's flat. They don't go all the way through, so you're going to need to get a standard driver that fits in that slot on that the pivot pin screw. And then these other screws go all the way through. We've got a backspacer that's also the micarta. It's got these relief cuts here to let air and light through. Bit of jimping on the back. We've got one of those inset backspacer lanyard holes, but there isn't a lot of room in there. If you take a good look at it right here, there's very little access right there for paracord. So if you make your paracord flat, might be able to get it in there, but it's going to be tricky getting it back out. I tried it. So just be aware of that. You could take a little bit more of this micarta away just on the inside edge. Don't take it off on the outside edge, but on the inside edge to give yourself a little better access if you want to. Or you could take it apart, put the paracord through and then put it back together, and then you'll be fine. The pocket clip, it's held on by one screw through the back, and it's got a recessed hole on either side, so it's right and left, fully deep, flush screw. It looks a little small for this knife, but it's totally adequate. It works just fine. It's got a unique little design on there. I don't know if that's supposed to be Morse code for something. I haven't even checked that. Maybe I could. ... dash, dot, dash, dash, dot, dash, dash, dot, dot, dot. If that means something in Morse code, let me know down below in the comments. So that's pretty much the overview of the knife. Oh, more on the handle. It's a flat micarta. We've got a chamfer that goes all the way around, and the chamfer gets a little bit more shallow, which means it goes a little further up the handle here and here. Looks good. I do have fairly oily skin, so the color of this was lighter when I got it. So just the use of it enough for doing all my testing, and I do a fair bit of testing, is what turned it this darker color. You can see here by the pocket clip that it's lighter. That's what it came like from the factory. It came that lighter color right there. So if you don't have oily skin like mine, it's going to stay lighter like that. You know, I could take the handle scales off and wash them and then put them back on and they'd be light again. I've done that with micarta before and it works just fine. So that's pretty much what the knife is built like. Let's take a look at the insides now to see the details. Now it can be a little annoying to take it apart, and that's because these posts back here also have screw heads on them, but it turns the whole post. So I started taking them apart that way because this side is the side that had, you know, the screw, the pivot screw that comes out. So I wish they would have turned those around, and I will do that myself. I'm going to put the posts in from the other side so it'll be easier to take apart next time. No, I can't do that because then only do that if you're left-handed. I just realized the error of my thoughts because you have to take the screw out at the pocket clip. And if this side, that bolt is going in the pocket clip side, you're not going to get it out that easily. So there's that. Maybe they should have or could have. I'm going to turn the pivot screw around and put the flush side on this side. That's what I'm going to do. We've got the dual row ceramic detent balls, so that's quite nice. D-shaped pivot pin, like I said, that's quite nice. Let's put that in there on that side. It's got a light grease. I'm going to change that for a light oil. It's got a grease, I should say. So very skeletonized, as you can see. Pretty standard construction. And here's the pocket clip. So it comes around and it goes in that slot, but it has to go on the screw post, and then you got to come underneath in with the liners and everything, so it can be a little tricky to assemble it, but far from impossible. So that's how it's made. Fairly decent construction. Ceramic detent as well, like I said, and you know, there's that D-shaped hole. So time to put it back together and go over all the measurements. Let's now do all those sizes, dimensions, all those things. Size comparison with the Ontario Rat 1. The Rat's just a tiny bit bigger, but in a lot of ways it's very much the same size as the Rat. Close. We've got 102 grams. That's 3.55 ounces. Not bad for such a large knife. The sharpness from the factory came in at 185 bests. Not quite as sharp as average. We'll see why in just a minute. The cutting edge length, 96.75 millimeters, 3.81 inches. Blade length, tip to the closest spot on the handle, is actually a bit less, 93.25 millimeters, 3.67 inches. Thickness of the blade at the ricasso and the flats here, 3.46 millimeters, 0.1365 of an inch, so a bit over 1/8 of an inch. The blade depth, right here at the heel, its widest 27 millimeters, 1.06 inches, and at the tip it's 0. The thickness behind the grind is next. That's 0.46 millimeters. That's 18 thousandths of an inch. Very good. The grind angles. This side is about 22 degrees for most of it, and this side is about 20 and 20.5 around for most of it. In actuality, it's at the very heel and at the very tip on both sides. It's steeper than it should be. Here it's 23.7, very quickly goes to about 22.2. It ends here at 22.1, and then at the very tip, the last quarter of an inch about, it goes to 23.9. Does the same thing on this side, starts at 22.9, quickly goes to about 22.3, but this one ends now at 19.1, so it's a slow angle changing here, but then it goes back up to 22.8 there. So it's not terrible. It could be sharpened better, but like I've said many times, that's pretty much par for the course for the industry, for, you know, production knives that are in this kind of price category. Unfortunately. Not unique to Real Steel. It just happens on all the brands. More measurements here. The handle length is about 118 millimeters, 4.65 inches. The grip area, it's about 11 centimeters, 4.3 inches. That's slightly rounded because I'm not sure exactly where to measure it to. The thickness of the handle is 12.4 millimeters. That's 0.488 of an inch, so that's nice. The handle depth, the widest point's right here, 27.5 millimeters, 1.08 inches. When the knife is closed, it's about the same here as it is here, and that is 29.7 millimeters, 1.17 inches. And the total length of the knife from tip to tail is 211.3 millimeters, 8.32 inches. And I talked about the price earlier. Generally, most places for the black G10 is $77. So a little bit less at Real Steel Shop. Use my referral link down below. And if you want special colors like the white G10 or the green micarta, if you remember me talking about those are at Real Steel Shop. My referral link will get you $20 off on your first purchase there. So what's my overall feeling of this knife? I like this design. Ivan's done a great job. I like that it's a unique pocket clip. You know, different screws than we usually see. It's quite nice. Special things. We've got this forward grip, not just a forward choil, and it doesn't use up any of the potential blade, so I really like that. It is comfortable and secure in hand. Many different grips that you want. They feel really good. It just works. Nice jimping, comfortable. I like the liners that are set out a little bit, a little recessed liners, recessed handle scales. Chamfering on them is quite nice. The grippiness of the micarta is good. The pocket clip going both ways and being fully deep, that's good. Oh, I didn't show how that works with the pocket clip. I got to go find my little set of denim shorts. I put them away before my surgery. There we go. Yeah, I had to put away all my stuff for my surgery because I had to walk around in crutches. And I've got all this video recording equipment set up in my bedroom. So, yeah, there you go. It goes in full depth and hides in your pocket. Pocket clip works very well. I like it. What else do we have on here? Oh, a strong tip. We've got the full thickness of the blade until that last 2/3, 3/4 of an inch. Well, more like 2/3, half an inch. So nice and thick behind there. N690 is a good steel. You know, it's a budget steel, but it's closer to being a mid-grade steel than most budget steels, so it's quite good. The cons, I wish there was a proper sharpness choil in here. The release, I wish it was a little bit easier to get at it. Once you get used to it, it's not bad though. So that's all right. With my left hand, I find it a little bit harder, but I can do it. And I'm left-handed, so, you know, it should be easier to do. So I was looking at my screen while I'm doing that. Sorry, I had messed up. And that's about it. I really, really like this knife. Oh, the other one, yeah, with the lanyard opening, it could be a little bit bigger there. It would be a bit better. I don't know if they intended this here to be, you know, you could use it as a pressure point persuader. I didn't think of that until just now as I was recording this. Perhaps you could use it that way. I thought it was just like for the design, for its looks and stuff. It looks pretty good. If you're looking for a nice big, almost fully flat grind knife by Real Steel, check out the ROKOT. Thanks so much for watching my video. Thanks for supporting the channel. Thanks for letting the advertisements play. Or if you really hate advertisements, please consider not using an ad blocker that takes money out of creators' pockets, creators like me. Maybe subscribe to YouTube Premium, and that way I still get a little bit for making these videos. All the support I can get is very, very much needed. It's not free to make videos. It's free to upload videos, but it's not free to make videos. It does take a fair bit of time and money. So thank you for respecting the channel. And remember, friends, cut towards your chum, not your thumb. Bye for now.